Hi, I'm Ben, and this is a video about polyrhythms. I have a system that I've devised with my students that works really well to find any polyrhythm. It sounds like a bit of a mouthful, so first we're going to go through the steps, and then we're going to actually test it out and do a couple of them ourselves to demonstrate how it works. Here we go. Now, when people talk about polyrhythms, they talk about 2 against 3 or 3 against 4. That's always the terminology, X against Y. So we're going to use that terminology. So the first step is understanding that X against Y is in Y. So your time signature is going to be Y. If you're not a musician or you don't understand the term time signature, that's not really important. All you need to understand is that in order for there to be a polyrhythm, there's one rhythm against another. In order for there to be a rhythm against another, we have to have the first rhythm, which is going to be the Y. We're going to demonstrate all this in just a second, so if these words don't make any sense to you, maybe just fast forward a little bit. We're going to fill the bottom voice in one measure with quarter notes, and then we're going to fill the top voice with X-plets. Then we're going to write an accent over every Y-th X-plet, and finally, the accents will represent the X, and the quarter notes will represent the Y. So, let's actually try this out. Okay, we are going to try this out with the polyrhythm 3 against 4. So X against Y, 3 against 4. So anytime we see X, we're going to put a 3. Anytime we see Y, we're going to put a 4. So 3 against 4 is in 4. So your time signature is going to be Y, which is 4. First thing you're going to do is fill the bottom voice in one measure with quarter notes. Then you're going to fill the top voice with X-plets. So our X is 3, so 3-plets, which we call triplets. Now you're going to write an accent over every Y-th X-plet. In plain English, that means it's going to be every 4th triplet. The accents are going to be the 3, and the quarter notes are going to be the 4. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we're going to write it out and then we're going to play it. We're going to write out 3 against 4, and as we said, your time signature is going to be Y, which is 4. Most people talk about time signatures as having 2 numbers, but the bottom number is kind of hard to explain and not really important right now, so we're just going to say it's in 4. And then it says fill the bottom voice in one measure with quarter notes. By bottom voice, I just mean we're going to have 2 separate layers happening at the same time. That's what a polyrhythm is, after all. And so the bottom layer is going to be, we're going to fill the measure with quarter notes, and we can fit 4 quarter notes, or 4 beats, inside 4/4. So that's our bottom layer. And then we're going to fill the top voice. So over top of these 4 quarter notes, we're going to fill the top voice in with X-plets, and our X is 3, so that means triplets. So inside of each one of these beats, we're going to fill in a triplet. And for the non-music folks out there, a triplet is just when you split a beat into 3 equal parts. It's kind of tricky. It's like folding a piece of paper in half is easy, but folding it in thirds is kind of tricky. But musicians learn to do it usually pretty early on. And a lot of the music that you probably know and love is based on a triplet feel. So we're going to wait until we get to the playing portion to really talk about how all that stuff sounds. Now, the next step is to write an accent over every Y-th X-plet, which in this case is every 4th triplet. So we've got a total of 12 triplets in the measure, and we're going to write an accent over every 4th one. So that's going to be this one, the first one. It's going to be this one, the second triplet of the second grouping. So we'll put that here. And then it's going to be, the next one will be the third one of the third grouping, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're done. So that's our whole measure. So the accents are going to be the 3 and the quarter notes are going to be in the 4. When we get to the playing portion, this is going to make a little bit more sense. Okay, so now we're going to play this thing. 3 against 4 is in 4, as we said, so we're going to start out by playing the 4, the bottom voice from the worksheet on the side of the practice pad here. You can play it wherever you want, but that's where I'm going to play it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it says to fill in the top voice with triplets. So when you count triplets against that pulse, there's a number of different ways of counting triplets. I like to count 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And then when we accent every 4th triplet, it's going to sound like this. I'll click my sticks together to represent the accent. It's going to sound like this. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. When we put those two together, I'll play the quarter notes here on the side of the practice pad, and then I'll play the accents with my left hand on the main part of the practice pad. So that's going to sound like this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 happening with my right hand. And my left hand is playing the accents from the triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So those are the accents. So those are the 3. So we play those two rhythms together. I can count 4 with my right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can count 3 with my left hand. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I take my right hand out, you can hear that the left hand notes are evenly spaced. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So, this is just a pad demonstration. The ways you can apply this on the drum set are almost unlimited. And I'll include some information in the notes for the video for some places you can find some great exercises for stuff like this. Let's do a few more of these just to demonstrate how this works for any polyrhythm. Okay, it's the lightning round. We're going to do a bunch, well, a couple more polyrhythms using the same process, but we're going to kind of move through it pretty fast. So we did 3 against 4, and some people might ask, well, what's the difference between 4 against 3 and 3 against 4? There is a difference. To demonstrate that, now we're going to do 4 against 3. So 4 against 3 is in 3. Which means we're going to fill the bottom voice in with 3 quarter notes. Next thing we're going to do is fill the top voice with 4-plets. That just means we're splitting the beat into 4 parts, so musicians speak, we call those 16th notes. So that looks like this. And we count these 1E and 2E and 3E and here's what they look like. Okay, so that's our next step, and then we're going to write an accent over every Y-th X-plet. So in this case, that's every 3rd 16th note. And so when we do that, it looks like this. Right? Every 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Every 3rd 16th note. And when we do that, we should end up with the polyrhythm we want. So let's try that out. We're going to turn on our metronome at about 60. So let's try it. I'm just going to stomp the beats. You won't be able to see my feet, but just try to stomp along. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to count these 16th notes. 2, 3. 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and now we're going to clap every 3rd one. Here we go. 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 1E and 2E and 3E and so now if I just clap those and I don't count, it sounds like this. there's our 4 against 3. When we count, we got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, there's our 3. Our 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Let's do another one. Okay, for this one I did some of the cooking ahead of time to save us some time. So we're going to do 4 against 5. 4 against 5 is going to be in 5 because it's always in Y, whatever the second number is. So we filled in the bottom voice in the measure with 5 quarter notes. So that's our 5. Then we filled in the top voice with 4-plets, which again we said before is 16th notes. And then we accent every 5th 16th note, right? And the accents will be the X and the quarter notes will be the Y. So let's count and play this thing. Set the metronome a little faster this time. So that's our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can stomp along at home. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And then we count 16th notes. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a... Don't forget to breathe. And now we're going to clap every 5th 16th note. So it sounds like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a... So when we count each side of this, it's going to sound like this. We've got the 5 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 on top. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, every polyrhythm has a certain feel and melody to it, and even though it might be necessary to think about them this way at first, most musicians that use them a lot end up just sort of getting to the point where they know how they feel and they don't have to think about them so hard. But it's a great way to get started, and you can do any polyrhythm you want. How about 6 against 5? Neat, right? So it's a great way to impress your friends at parties and scare your bandmates. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to email me at bentufts@gmail.com. I love to get nerdy about this stuff. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching.